Lachelle, thanks for joining. Lovely to see you on the screen. I know it's very hard to get time away from work, and I just want to say thanks in advance for taking the time to see us here today as we look to continue some education and just a general chat around the real estate industry and those people that partner in success for the growth and development of new people and existing that are in the industry. So by way of introduction for myself, I'm Brent. I'm one of the directors here at Ray White, and we're trying to do something a little bit different and add value to the people that are listening or watching this so they go away learning something or uncovering a new contact that they may or may not have known. So nice and relaxed with me. How's your morning been?
Yeah, good. Actually, it's been really cool. So I think a lot has transpired over the weekend since you and I have kind of like emailed each other about this podcast. I also run a podcast, and it's also in launch phase. I've only filmed 6 episodes and edited none, because that's the hardest part.
Yeah. Well, it's funny you say that. We can have a conversation. We can have a conversation about how we might be able to help you with that after this. And what's your podcast about?
It's called The Local Lifestyle. And it's just about 2 crazy women who might have ADHD. We're not truly sure, but we act like we do. But we're also mothers, and just the day-to-day life of 2 women that have very exuberant lifestyles and are coming across all of the challenges. So we're both dancers. So we're Brazilian samba dancers. We have big families as well. We love food, and yeah, we've just come across so many challenges of like self-doubt and setting boundaries, leadership, within our family, and also finding inspiration within ourselves, because I think you lose that as a mother. That's basically what our podcast is about so far, but it's a bit comical as well because we are pretty clumsy. Like I said, we reckon we have ADHD, and I do a part in there where I actually rap. I rap about the topic that we're talking about. And
can you give us a little example of that, or you don't think you can get it going this morning?
Oh, have you got some beats going on?
No, we don't. Quite stale in this office today. Mondays is reporting and administration day for us, so it's unusual for me to be doing something like this. But that sounds really interesting. So it's in your six episode now. Still haven't edited it. So when are you thinking about getting that going?
So we reckon we'll probably launch the podcast late Jan, early Feb. So just like for the drive home, because it's a really casual listen. We want it to be something that people just kind of tune in when they're chilling out or on the train home, on the drive home. So we think we'll be doing that next year when everyone sort of goes back to work.
Yeah, cool. Awesome. Yeah. So tell us a bit about your role at LinkLearn.
Oh, I love my role at LinkLearn. I'm not going to lie. I get the best job in the world. Like, honestly, I have the best job in the world. So at LinkLearn, obviously, we're a real estate training organization. And my role is to just make friends with directors like yourself and our new students who obviously come out into the world of real estate, and get them to love us. Well, they first have to love me, and then they have to love us. And the whole point is so that we can, I guess, make an impact through the learnings that we give them, because we obviously deliver courses at LinkLearn, and also make them feel good about getting into the real estate industry or being in the real estate industry, and that we're always here to help people out with their qualifications. But I love my job. Like, I get to speak to people like you, inspirational leaders. Like, I just found out that you did that coaching thing, and I love people who coach. I wanted to become a coach at one point, maybe a life coach.
Yeah, well, it's fun. It's also, what's the word? I think, and it depends on what you want to do. I think if you get good enjoyment out of seeing development in others and that makes you feel good, then it should be there. Like, I don't even charge for my coaching or anything like that. I just do it because I feel it assists other people to be able to develop skills that they might not have anyone in their life and stuff to be able to help them do that. So let us know if you've got anyone that wants to have a chat at some point about that. Your role is an interesting role, and correct me if I'm wrong, I don't want to say it's like a client liaison sort of role, but I always see you online just like traveling to different offices, taking nice photos, dropping off little gifts. Like, it's a rapport building role, obviously. A lot of things I've known about LinkLearn over the years is you don't do any advertising, do you? It's just referral-based inductees into the system, or?
Yeah, pretty much. It's so we used to do advertising a long time ago, but we've really changed that model. What we do now is we look at all the people we've helped within the industry and people who've been kind enough to refer to us. We love on them. I think it's being grateful for the small appreciations, the small gestures that people give, like whether it's they refer someone, they might not know where that person's going to go next, you know, and we get it. You real estate agents are super busy. Like if there is anyone that is not switched off, it's real estate agents. Like, yes. I know you have the day off on Sunday, but you really don't.
Nah, you don't.
Let's be real here. So, you know, when we get the text message on a Sunday or whatever from directors like yourself, we want to make sure that we look after these people and we appreciate what you do, and so we give that back. And that's my role. Like, I get to love on you because you've done something that's, you know, pivotal to our business.
Yeah. So with Lane, sits at the top of the tree, what's the background story there? Ex-real estate agent or?
Look, I know his dad was Rain and Horn, I think CEO of Queensland. Yeah. So I know that's kind of where the real estate background was, and I believe LinkLearn kind of started off as an idea inside the group, and then kind of like branched out. Lane took over, but he told me one time that he worked at like John Deere. Do you know the
ride-ons?
Yeah. And I think that's it. So that and that.
The reason why I asked that question is his lead nurturing is very similar to a real estate agent or decent real estate agents, but his thank you and gratitude for referrals is always been like of a really high standard. I think sometimes in our industry, people get this people get this expectation that that's just how it is, and they forget all the little 1%ers. So like, you know, every time I've ever sent anyone to you guys, I always at least get a text message. I will say back in the day, I got a little nice hamper and all that in the early days. That's changed, maybe because cost of goods, I'm not sure, but it's not about that. It's the fact that you always get a nice message saying thank you and stuff like that. It's just interesting because I think as businesses grow or evolve, they forget that personal connection, and that's, you know, obviously why you're there, which is awesome, but he's always been very good at that. And I've always wondered if he come from a real estate background because, you know, we have no product, right? At least you guys have got a product. You get a certificate at the end, whereas with us, we just sell communication. And that probably leads me to a couple of questions that I've got now that we've, broken down the barriers and we're now into our groove or our flow on. Is there anyone in the industry that you think stands out that has gone through LinkLearn that's just done an exceptional job that you talk about when new people are thinking about who they're going to choose, whether it's you guys or some other provider? Is there any pin-up lady or guy that you use that just stands out?
Honestly, we don't pin up like particular people constantly because we have so many people that have just excelled in so many of their roles, because you've always got different roles in real estate, right? You've got the sales, you've got the property management, you've got the administration. There are so many people that have excelled in different roles, but what we do, and you probably get to see this on my Instagram, is we give highlights to people that have become directors like yourself. The ones that I could say that I've noticed have really gone up and above, just this is me personally. I don't know if you know Tanae Jane from...
Yes.
Yeah, so I think he was working closely with Tom Panos.
Yeah.
And he started as a car wash person.
Yeah.
And his journey, like, we didn't know where he started. It was only until he started to do a lot more stuff on online and showcase himself. But his journey, he started off as a person that just worked in a car wash. And he's grown exponentially, and he's now the owner and principal of McGrath Werribee, I believe. So he's come a long way. He was with Reliance Real Estate for a really long time and really helped soar their growth. That's probably one person that comes to mind for me. Another one was Shari Emrazadi from Barry Plant. He's now the director of Barry Plant Barwon Heads.
Okay.
He used to be part of Geelong, Barry Plant. Yeah, he was just this vacuum cleaner seller. He just sold vacuum cleaners.
Yeah.
And he's just grown and built this amazing team. Is it considered regional Victoria?
Used to be regional, yeah, but it's not now. It's now metro. But yeah, you're right. It's the reason why I was leading into that question is so often I get a phone call from particularly young people and sometimes mature older people looking for a career change, and the first thing they always say to me is, I don't have any experience. And I just wanted to talk with you about that because the two examples that you've given is a car wash and a vacuum salesperson.
Yeah.
And the first thing that stands out to me about the car wash is it's a very process-driven industry in terms of certain steps that need to happen there. And with the sales, it just talks, in my opinion, that would be a pretty tough job. So there's a lot of hustle, a lot of grinding and a lot of rejection. And I think that people that come from different backgrounds is what makes our industry great. There's so many different walks of life that, you know, if everyone wanted to list their property with someone like me, it'd be very boring because it would be the same every single time. Whereas the reason why you want to have different people in your business is they'll be flavoursome and attractive to certain people, and in the same breath not a lot of people would want to list with them as well. So that's what makes a great business. But do you find there's a lot of young people that come to LinkLearn and, you know, are a bit confused about what they want to do, or they just see that there's many young, successful real estate agents like in our business, they want to sort of get the blueprint to success really, really quickly? Or what's the type of person that's coming through your books or your training at the moment?
All types. It's exactly as you said it. All flavors, all colors of the Skittles rainbow. Honestly, we get people who are hungry driven, people who are not sure, like they've got the skill set. Look, I'll be honest, I wanted to get into real estate, Brent. It was only because Lane snatched me up. He's like, oh, you've got some like really nice skills that I could see could fit in our business. I was like, okay. I was in corporate.
Yeah.
I was in corporate for a really long time.
In real estate?
No, I was in salary packaging.
Right.
Yeah.
There you go.
I think it just comes down to the personality type. Have a lot of empathy, connection. As I've learned over my time at being at LinkLearn, and I've only been at LinkLearn since 2019, I think. And a lot of that was also spent in COVID. But I've learned about the people that come through. I've learned about the directors and a lot of their varying backgrounds. You know, just as you said, you know, not all people might gel with a personality type like you might. People might not gel with the people personality type like Tanae's. And that's why it's nice to have all different sort of styles and traits within the business. But I've seen quite consistently, it's the relationship element, that someone wants to create a relationship and give a part of themselves to someone else so that someone else can receive something back. I guess worthwhile. And also being a real estate agent, you're dealing with these people's, well, the vendor's most prized possession, their asset.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it really comes down to work ethic, your ability to create relationships and having that empathy. Your empathy doesn't have to be exuberant like mine, but as long as you have that within, I think that's a great trait that we see through.
Yeah, we talk often about that it's a people industry before it's a property industry. And so many, sorry, I won't say that in a negative way. The ones who get it, who understand that, it's just such a wonderful job. The ones that don't get it, yeah, they leave the industry very quickly, which is no different to anything else. It's interesting. We had an investor night last week and I was talking to a few people there, and you would assume that real estate is a glorified job. There's a lot of things about real estate the common person would not be aware of. Like, it's a lot of problem solving. There's a lot of challenges that happen. It's very heavily litigated, and there's a heap of tension and emotion. It's like a pressure cooker, particularly in property management. I think particularly in Victoria with the regulations and changes on how things are now, there's this level of anxiety that has never been there before. Yeah. And renters and rental providers, the renter now, we were saying, 5 years ago was sort of a bit happy-go-lucky. If something needed to be fixed and it took a couple of weeks, they were okay with that. Whereas now, if it's not responded to, or the world that we're living in like today, then there's an issue, and it's just another thing. So I just wanted to make mention of that when people are wanting to come and go to LinkLearn and they're thinking, I want to be a property manager. I think the skill sets required to be a property manager is a really good listener, and also to be direct in your communication. I think sometimes people can get a bit off track by trying to rewrite the law. Like, the law is the law, right? That's what it's there for. Both sides of the transaction and the estate agency have to abide by that. But if you don't listen to the customers, it's just going to be an endless argument really for days, if not weeks. And I think people say, what's going to make me a good property manager? Well, someone who's a good listener. So mums and dads are great listeners. Well, sorry, most mums and dads are pretty good listeners. Some are really good talkers and dictators, but some of them are awesome. I think like aged care professionals or people that have done aged care for a while and they haven't, they've just got this different attitude when it comes to a problem. The reason why I say people with kids or people who have been through divorce or people who have suffered loss, for me, I see that as a real positive, even though, yeah, there's a negative that's attached to that, but they're able to handle a different level of stress. So in real estate, there's two really big levels of stress for me. One's homelessness. We've got a real shortage of affordable housing solutions for people. That there's that level of anxiety when you're a renter that, oh, I'm going to get a notice to vacate and I'm not going to have anywhere to live. That's the first thing. The second thing is affordability. I know affordability is on both sides, from the renter and the landlord as well, because interest rates go up. We're seeing more and more people having to top up their mortgages. Wages are not going up at the same increase. On both ends of the phone, you're dealing with someone who might not be able to afford to stay there or they fall into arrears, and you're dealing with a landlord who might also struggle in topping up the mortgage. So the conversation is never pretty, is what I'm trying to say. But if you're able to be disciplined and have really great time management and make sure you get back to people in time, it's actually quite a good job. Proud thing for me, which we're going to get to you in a second. Sorry that I've taken control of this. When I see our renters or our landlords drop off a box of chocolates or a bunch of flowers or just a thank you card to our property managers, that's like the highlight of my week. 100% is, because they're dealing with 200, 300, 400 people at any given time, and only one or two at any given time might do that. So it's really highlighted, and I know how much it means to them, because 80% of the phone calls are, you've fallen into arrears, this is broken, hasn't been fixed, trades can't come out. It's just got this negative connotation to it. So I just wanted to publicly praise the people out there that do that. I'm not asking for more people to do it. I'm just letting you know that it's appreciated. But let's talk about sales. Obviously, that's where I sit on the side of the business. So how many people do you reckon are coming through wanting to be a sales agent now that COVID's finished?
Look, that's a difficult question, because after COVID, I mean, I don't know about you, but I saw a lot of people drop off from a lot of industries.
Yeah.
Right? And I felt that, what do they call it? The great resignation. I felt that across, the whole planet. Everyone was to resign and find their passion and find their why, or find something that they felt they connected to a lot more. And then we sort of started to see in LinkLearn a bit of a climb back maybe early this year. But I think with the cost of living, things have been still not where they used to be, basically. I'm just going to be honest with you. It's just not where it used to be. I can't give you a finite number because I don't know it myself. But what I have noticed, and this is what's really interesting, is that the people coming through LinkLearn are a different caliber. Because we focus on high quality training, and that's what we love. We love sending people out so that they can be, great employees for directors like you. Because I know I used to own a restaurant like during LinkLearn, and we sold it off because of COVID. I know how hard it is to recruit people. I know what the importance of these people being trained up as well. So once you recruit them, you want them trained up pretty quickly, but you also want the quality of knowledge to be there, and you want them to be passionate. You want them to love what they do. I think what we're seeing now is people coming into LinkLearn are now passionate, are showing more passion, more care about their decision to come into real estate. That's what they're getting, because we've got this product for them that gets them the qualifications, but it also aligns with their values as well. Whereas I know that there are lots of other courses out there. We're not a one size fits all. We have, like you guys in your industry, different flavors for different people. There are different flavors in our industry for different people, and so we understand that. So I think we'll start to see some sort of changes over the next couple of years, because once people kind of settle their minds and realize what they truly want to do. And you mentioning earlier about the different people types, like the mums and dads, great listeners who are a lot more empathetic, because once you have a child, you've got no room for like stuffing around. You kind of, for one, you have to get to the point with your children, and you kind of have to break down the instructions for your children, especially when you're dealing with someone, they're not in real estate, so they don't know what you're talking about when you're using jargon words. So having the ability to break that down is a great trait, But also they have empathy because children are highly emotional creatures. You've got to be able to tap into that very quickly using those skill sets.
Yeah. The reason why I asked the question about the sales thing is I reckon I've seen it's fact that there's a lot of real estate agencies just diminishing, just leaving, particularly here in regional Victoria. During COVID, there was 51 different real estate agencies actively listing and selling in the Greater Bendigo region, and now it's down to about 19, I think it is.
Wow.
So why behind that is you could have opened up the door or didn't even need to open up the door and you just sell the property like it was a hot cake. It would just go. Whereas now I think it's moving back to the way that it used to be, which is it's actually harder than what it used to be. Even though it's good and it's still going really, really good for us, your communication's got to go to a new level because the world is moving so quickly. And if you're not in a position to do that, I think sometimes, particularly the law industry, like lawyers and solicitors, like they hate real estate agents. And I'm happy to say that. And I hope some of them here are listening because they do, because they go, oh, you make all this money. But the difference between a lawyer and between a real estate agent, in my opinion, is they have the ability to switch off. Whereas I reckon in the world that we live in, if you don't have good time management to set aside that that's enough of work today and the phone goes off or the emails are not triggered and you set up the barriers, they don't see the grind that's happening when normal business hours aren't happening. And I'm sure they're working hard as well. But I feel the customer understands to ring a lawyer between 8:30 and 5 every business day. They feel like they can ring a real estate agent up until midnight every night, 7 days a week, public holidays and that. So I just wanted to give a bit of a shout out to the real estate agents that are still in the industry that have been copping that heat for a while, because it is hard. The expectations of customers are at an even greater level and the fees don't necessarily match the intensity. So we've seen heaps of people leave the industry because they weren't happy to do the 1%ers. And talking about LinkLearn and your value add that you provide compared to some of the other training organisations is, I reckon every person that's gone through LinkLearn in our business is either still here or is left to go on to a better thing. Those that have gone through other training organisations, and I think I might have had a bit of tongue in cheek when I was overseas with you about that, is you pay for what you get. In anything, you pay for what you get. You want to go to a nice restaurant and you want to have the best steak, well, you're going to pay more for it than what you're going to do at an RSL. That's how it is. You want to go to a training organisation and you want to get the best training and the support, you're going to have to pay for it. Exactly, as you said, the rising costs of living, if you can go with a training organisation that's half the cost, people just don't understand the problems or the implications that can happen if they don't succeed.
Sure. I think it's so true. Like Blaine always says, and I think we've also sent this in an email, he always says, would you pay a plumber or an electrician to work on your home $100, right? And there are courses out there that one day $100 courses. I don't know. I don't think I would because, okay, hold on. I actually have. And the Tyler didn't come back. So that's exactly what happened. He just didn't come back and he left all his tools. So I'm a big believer in that. And being a coach yourself, and I've been through coaching, I've been to Tony Robbins, and I didn't have the money at the time to pay for Tony Robbins. But when you value your education and you value what you can see in the future, what you're going to get out of it, then yeah, I would, like, for me, it's always about quality over quantity.
Yeah.
Quantity.
I'd agree with you. I'd agree with you on that. To recap on the LinkLearn thing before we cover off on a couple other topics, is the best thing about that organisation is that I feel the contact individual support is always there. That's the first thing. I feel like the training organisation will assist the team member in succeeding and not necessarily build them for failing or not yet succeeding, which is what I really appreciate. The regulations changed to make it harder to get into the industry, which was awesome. Don't get me wrong. The best thing they probably could ever have done. Yeah. But the best operators in real estate sales don't know how to use a computer because they're persons. Like that's who they are. That in itself is challenging for people that might have come from a restaurant background and never used one before, for example. Yes, we've all got mobile phones, but people in the trade, we've got a young guy that's just joined us, struggled to use a computer. He will be by far one of the best real estate agents in our town, because he's got a charismatic attitude. He works hard and can have a chat with anyone at the pub. You know what I mean? He's just got it. You know, he's got it, but he really struggles on the computer. So maybe they might move towards some sort of, I don't know, rather than writing an essay and filling out a document, you might have to do a video or something like that to be able to demonstrate your ability and knowledge on certain things. I'm not entirely sure. One thing I wrote in our segment that to cover off on was just to quickly chat about our perceptions of the industry and what it sort of takes that people are not necessarily highlighted to. Not to go on about it, but in real estate sales, there's no instant success. You've got to be able to demonstrate value constantly, whether you get anything out of it or not. That's the first thing. The second thing is if you don't invest in your personal brand and into your customers, you are never going to win against someone who does. That's just as black and white as I can be. So don't expect to be a self-made millionaire in the first couple of years or the first 5 or 10 years, doesn't matter. For a younger person, I would align myself next to a senior agent or a senior team, and I'd stay there as long as I possibly could and know that if I was just making minimum wage or a bit better than minimum wage, then that would be a win, because the shorter route is a failure more times than what it is a success. And what I mean by that is people are very quick to want to be selling 50 homes a year, for example, in a regional market. That is next to impossible if you don't learn the certain things. You can outgrind someone, you can make more phone calls, you can do all that, but it's a trust-based industry as well. And that's why I think people need to do like an apprenticeship, 3 or 4 years next to someone who's doing great things.
Actually, Locke and I were talking about that, and we thought it's interesting because you've got all of these trades, right, that do the certificate form, and they go through an apprenticeship style where they're being managed across with someone more senior than them, and they get to hold their hand as they go through. And since legislation changed and we have the course now being a Cert 4, the entry-level course being now a Cert 4, we think, yeah, it's a great thing. It's a positive thing. It gives more professionalism to the industry, to agents. And I think I love that idea, you know, walking hand in hand with someone who's senior and understanding that real estate is a bell curve. Start off slow, and then before you have this exponential growth, and you're off and away, because I'm building those relationships.
Yeah, it's tough. And it's, you know, a lot of people always say to me, you know, when they come in for an interview, there's 2 things. One that hasn't done their certificate for, it's not that we're not interested, it's just a requirement like a driver's license, right? You just got to have it.
Yeah.
So often I see people like, oh, I've got my full license. There's this big stigma about having your full. I didn't have my full license for ages. Obviously, we operate on ease, and everyone's like, oh, you're going to get your full license. I said, why? It's not my role in the business. I have one now, obviously, but there's this, it's like they think on their business card that they've got that they're a fully licensed estate agent, but they've never had anything to do with the trust account. They've never had anything to do with going through VCAT or anything else that's stipulated in those courses and how you're going to do things. But they want to tell everyone, and it's like, why? It's just crazy. Yeah. I just want to say that as well, that I think the sellers don't care either. Like, they want someone who's going to do the job, whether you've got the highest ticket or the lowest ticket or anywhere in between.
Yes.
So they cover that.
It's so funny that you say that, because the best, like I was mentioning, like the 2 agents and even yourself, you know, you're not in these areas that like have the Turak mansions. Still the best of the best. Like, you've been elite performer, God, for your entire career, right? Almost.
Some of it, yeah.
A good chunk of it. I looked you up before.
There's a long list, but it's also hard to my journey compared to somebody else's. Like, we worked at an independent for 6 months when I first started, and then we took over the franchise here. So I sort of haven't had that upbringing that we suggest that we need to do. The resources weren't there for myself, which is probably why we're quite proud of what we've been able to achieve. But I'm just lucky I've got a great team. I've got so many people in the business that we're just so lucky to have. You know, Em, she runs our property management department. She's very passionate about things like Google reviews. Dan, he runs our media department. Russ runs our sales team now. So, like, you know, I think the key to business is making sure you've got the right people in the right place. We've got some great juniors and stuff coming through. So whatever you see about me online, don't think it's all about me. It's not. It's about the others as well.
No, definitely. Every time I come to your office, they are all always so hospitable. And everyone is just, they're all running around making things work. Like, I think Rory's wife came out and stepped out and we had like an hour conversation just about kids.
Yeah.
I was like, wow, this woman, like, she does so much. She's amazing. And your team are so successful. Like, I just love all that you've done, especially in the last, I think, 24 months. I've seen you grow and absorb another office in Bendigo. And it just goes to show, like, how important you are to the community, because you're giving good quality people jobs as well. I think that's important.
Yeah.
People's livelihood, and they love it because they're still there and you're obviously growing more.
Yeah, it is hard as an employer too to be all things to all people, plus then still want to be there for the customer. We genuinely see our team as our customers. Like, our job is to make sure we create a vibrant, fun environment for them to work in. They feel safe, also have a bit of fun, and maybe we have a little bit too much fun, but that's who we are. Like, that's in our DNA, and we're always going to be like that. And we're never going to change. And yes, some people would hate that. I think the success of any business is retention, and the good people that are here have been with us for a long time. Kate's been here with us for nearly the whole time we've been open. Em's been with us for a long time as well. Darcy's one of the youngest, but he's been here for 7 years since he was straight out of school. So yeah, it's a great place to work, and I'm glad they're getting the recognition that they deserve. That they've been working pretty hard for a long time. So hopefully we can enjoy the moment. But before we wrap up and finalise, is there anything that you'd like to talk about? Anyone you want to give a plug to, or are you happy just to?
I'm going to plug to you. Like, I must say, I really enjoyed this podcast. Like, it's really nice to see someone going out there, inspiring people, talking to, like, I didn't think that I was anyone special, but it's nice to see that you're going out there and talking to different people from different backgrounds that really can inspire real estate, or somewhat have small associations to what you do. I think the more that we sort of open the door to what's out there, the more knowledge that we get about ourselves, whether we fit into these roles in real estate, whether we thought we'd never be part of real estate because, like you mentioned before, like mums and dads, aged care workers. You know, my dad's an aged care worker. I don't know if he saw himself in real estate. But now, you know, I'm his daughter, and like, maybe those traits are the same that I've got from him. I think it's amazing what you're doing, and I just want to thank you. And obviously thank the Ray White group too, Ray White, Bendigo. And you guys are just phenomenal to work with. And I love what you do. Love that you're inspiring people all the time.
Thanks. That's probably the nicest thing I've heard all week, even though it's only Monday, but I do appreciate the kind words and all the support that LinkLearn gives to people. So if those people are listening, you want to get into real estate, please give the team at LinkLearn a call or a message, or jump on the Instagram and make it happen, because, yeah, I've been with them for 10 years. Continue to be with them for another 10 years. They do a great job. So, yeah, thanks, Lachelle, for jumping on. Have a great day. We'll talk to you soon.
Awesome. Bye.
Bye.